All right, my friends. So this is the last lesson in this crash course. And so if you've been able to ride along with me till this point or on until this point, I say kudos to you and thumbs up. So you see, it's been a hell of a ride, but yeah, we're down until the last point. So let's get what we started finished. So in this tutorial, friends, I'm going to be teaching you guys the DAT classes and objects. So more to say OOPs in that programming language. So now, first of all, I'm going to go ahead defining what a class is. Then secondly, I'm going to go ahead defining what an object is. And as usual, we dive straight into the practical aspect of this. So now, what's a class? A class is a blueprint for creating objects whereby they are being made of initial values for state variable property or attributes, and also implementation of behaviors which are known as methods or functions. A long definition, I know, but don't worry, I'm going to explain this, breaking everything down for you guys so that you're going to grasp everything one after the other. So secondly, what's an object? An object can be defined as an instance of a class which has unique attributes and behaviors. So let me explain this thing for you guys outside the straight definition of what a class is and what an object is from my own point of view and instinct. Now, a class is more like, take for instance, now you're a human. You understand? So you being a human, you have a name, you have an age. You understand? Then you also have a gender. You understand? So aside having a name, age, and gender, you also sleep, you eat, you dance, you perform some actions. You understand? So a class is more to say like a box, a confined box which holds all the attributes in which all the attributes and properties that makes up a human. You understand? In this perspective, you understand? In this example I'm giving you guys, not just only humans, like we apply make use of classes in so many ways and so many forms. You get. So another good instance of a class is, take for instance now, in the banking system. So in the banking system now, so you have an account. So that account in which you have, that account has, it has a name, it has an account type. Then when you come to the methods or the functions of that account, you can withdraw money, you can fund the account. You get. So those are all, so these are all the attributes and properties that makes up a bank account in the banking system. You get. So if you want to do something like that, like this bank account, like application of like bank class in the banking system that is creating a bank account, you can go ahead just making use of OOPs to make your work so easy for yourself, or maybe applying your natural knowledge to maybe the first example I laid out for you guys, being a human. You could go ahead making use of OOPs, classes and objects. You get. So now let's see how the first example looks. The first instance I gave you guys look. So being a human, right? Perfect. So now let's go ahead creating a class. So how do we create a class? So first of all, we'll start with the class keyword. The class keyword. Class keyword. Then the name of the class. So I'm gonna say human. Perfect name. So after this, I have my curly braces. Good. So now we have lots of issues, whole lots of issues. We have 6 here. So what does it say? It says class can be used as an identifier because it's a keyword. Okay, fine. Expected this, expected that, blah blah. Undefined name class. So undefined name class. Try correcting the name to one that is defined or defining name. So whenever you're defining a class, you don't have to define a class inside the that main entry point. You understand? Or inside the that main function. So defining a class is more like defining an enum. So let's go ahead, put this. So let's combine this. So you see all the error goes away, and let's paste it here. Perfect. So you see we do not have any error any no longer. So in defining a class, you start with the class keyword followed by the name. So the naming convention in which we apply for classes is the Pascal naming convention, whereby the first letter of every word is or should be a capital letter or an uppercase letter. You get. So now class and human. So now, what should be the first property we should define for a human? Definitely, the first property should be a name, because when you're being given birth to, they give you a name. So it's that simple. So for the name, I'm gonna say string. And when I say properties, I mean values, and when I say values, I mean attributes. So all the same. So anyone which I use it's still fine, you understand? And when I say attributes, properties, I still mean field, you understand? So now what field, what property are we gonna pass in here? So it's a name. So I'm gonna say string name. So it's more like defining a variable, you get? So name equal to, so they gave back to me and they gave me the name Nelson, which is fine, Nelson. So up next, what attribute, what field or what property does Nelson possess? So I have a gender, so I'm still gonna go ahead and say string gender. So what gender am I? I'm a male. Wait, am I a male? Oh yeah, I'm male. No, 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 definitely I'm a male. I'm not a female, you know. I'm a male. So what next? So I have legs. Okay, for the legs, I'm not gonna say this to be string, so I'm gonna say this to be integer. So I'm gonna say int. I'm gonna say num legs. So this is the lower uppercase naming convention when you're defining a variable. So I have 8 legs. Oh no, I don't have 8 legs. I have 2 legs. Definitely, I have 2 legs. I'm a human. I'm not an animal. You know. So these three things you see here, these three variables you see here are holding values. So in as much as they've been embedded inside a class, so they are referred to be attributes or properties or fields. So now let me go ahead creating a method or a function. Like what does a human do? Like what does a human like Nelson do now? So Nelson eats, you know, he sleeps. Okay, so let's go ahead with the first one. So in defining a method or a function, like what I do, like what makes me function as a human, you know, we just defining like kind of like defining our normal function. So for the normal function, I want this function now to return a string. So I'm going to start off with the string, defining my string here, data type here. So let me scroll this up so you're gonna see this. So after the string, I'm gonna say eat, eat, then brackets, then curly braces. Then let me close this with this. So okay, no, this is gonna give me an error. So already it says to me the body might complete normally, causing null to be returned. So it expects us to return a value here because the function in which we're defining here expects us to return a value because it's not a void function, it's not an empty function. So inside here right now, so what are we gonna return? So let me say return a single statement, and what's that statement, or what should that statement hold or contain? So I'm gonna say return. So let me go ahead defining the name here. So I'm going to say return dollar name, sorry, name it. Perfect. So let me close this with our terminator, and you see the error goes away. So friends, you see how I've been able to define the class here, human. So inside this class human, you see, I told you guys in my own knowledge of classes, so you define a class based on to serve a purpose, you understand, based on like what you know something for to be. So like humans now, we have name, we have gender, and we have legs. So that's why I gave all these attributes and all these fields here. So humans will eat. So let me, there's another thing I want to add to this. So I want to add sleep, or instead of me adding sleep, I don't want this to look so bulky. So if you go ahead adding sleep, it's fine. So we think, you know, we calculate with the brain. We think perfect. So I'm gonna say name things. Nice. So this is the human. So we've defined our class of human which holds all this. So now let's go ahead creating an object for this human. So I told you guys that an object is an instance of a class. So now let's create the instance of this class. So an instance is kind of like something that is being created like onto something or to serve a particular purpose towards something or gearing towards something. So let's create an instance of this class now. So for this now, I'm gonna go ahead and say human. So when you're defining the object or the instance. So the type should be the type of the name of the class. So I'm going to say human. So I'm going to say person one. I'm going to say person one. This should be, I'm going to say human. Then let's close this up. Nice. So now, friends, you see here, we've been able to create an instance of this class. You understand? So this person one is working in is working handy to this class in which we created here, because this has an instance to this class. So how about we want to get what the name is from this our class, since we're working in handy with it, or want to get the gender. So it's very easy. So since we've been able to create an instance, so we'll go ahead. Since I want to get the name of the human, I'm going to say print person. So you're going to be working with the instance directly. That's the object. So person one dot name. Nice. Person one dot name. So this is how we target attributes, or this is how we gain access to attributes, fields, or properties in dealing with OOPs in that. So you say person one dot what the attribute is or what the field is. So now let's run this. Wow. So you see my name here, Nelson. So let me go ahead and duplicate this. Good. So let me say gender. Then let me come beneath this and let me say norm, legs. Yeah. And then let's run this, and you guys already know what we're gonna expect. Now say male and two. So here's the result. Here's the result, as you can see. So we got this result from the instance being created from this class. You understand? So how about if we want to gain access to what our method contains or what our function contains? It's the same format, it's the same syntax. So we're gonna come here and say person one dot, okay, let me just duplicate this. I don't want to make any changes from this right now. So come beneath here, and I'm gonna say person one dot eat eat. So you know, whenever we're dealing with functions, we always make use of our brackets. So that's the difference. That tells you the difference between method and a property or a field. So for a field, no brackets after the name. Then for a method, we have brackets after the name. So for this, what do I have down? Think. Good one. So now let me run this. Let's run this and let's see our result. So you see, it results to Nelson eats, Nelson thinks. So you know, I did string interpolation here, whereby I gained access to our variable here. So now there's one good advantage of creating classes. Like there's one major purpose of creating classes. So now you can see that this class being created is of human is just being specific towards just one person, and that's Nelson, and which is not fair, and that's not fine. You get? But to that, you see, it's fine. So no errors detected. But in the normal and actual sense of applying application of classes, so classes are created like to serve so many purposes, not just for to serve a single purpose. So you can see Nelson now is not just the only human on earth. You get? So Nelson now is not just the only human that has a name. He's not the only one that can eat or that can think. You get? So how about if we have another human named Mike, take for instance, or we have another human named Dwayne. You get? So now let me go for Mike. So you can see if I come here now and create another instance of this class, let me just go ahead and duplicate this, and let me paste it here. Then let me change this to person two. So right now I've created another instance of this human class here. So now let me go ahead, copy this, then let me give a good amount of space for clarification and clarity. Then let me change all this to 2. Let me change all this. So that's nice. So let's run this. and hopefully we should get the same result. So no difference. So you see, despite the fact that we've changed the instance of our class here, we still get the same result. Nelson, male to Nelson is Nelson things, Nelson again, male to Nelson is Nelson things, and which is wrong. So how about Nelson not being the only human? We have Mike Dwayne. So how are we gonna like create Mike Dwayne? They having names also just as Nelson. So it's easy. First off, I want you guys to know that whenever you create a class, you could have many instances of that class. You get, so you could have multiple instances of a class and thousands of instances of a class. It depends on what you're doing and it depends on you. You get. So right now, let's make it possible for us to not have just only Nelson as a human being being made, but also we have Mike. So how are we gonna do this? So let's come here and make some changes. So there's what we call constructors inside classes. So but before then, let me get rid of assigning a value to these variables. Let me get rid of assigning a value to the variables. Yeah. So fine. So now what does the error say? It says non-nullable instance field name must be initialized. So in that, there's this strict rule whereby if you define a variable, you must make sure that you initialize it. Unlike other programming languages, they are not that strict as to be compared to that. So in that, if you define a variable, you assign it a variable straight up, you get. But how about if you don't want to assign it a variable like a value immediately, like just as I want to apply here now? So how possible? Like how we gonna do that? So it's very easy. So what we're gonna do, just come after the define data type here, and then just add a question mark. So I'm gonna explain to you guys what this question mark simply means or what it signifies. So this question mark is very important to that. But in English language, it's just like, oh, question mark. So it's kind of like an annotation you get. So a question mark here tells that hey, look, I want to define this variable now, but later on I'm gonna come back and assign it a value. You get. So don't mean haste rushing me to assign a value now. I don't want to assign any value right now. So I just want to define a variable. Then later on I come back and assign it a value. So that is gonna be like, okay, wow, cool. So like yeah, I bet you get. So that's the catch. So nice. So let's run this and hopefully we'll see empty results. I bet you we're gonna see empty results. So you see, no, it's no. So our variables here or our fields here are empty. So how do we assign values to these fields, these attributes, and the method? So assigning values to this, there's what we call constructors in classes. So I normally like creating my constructors after my variables are being defined or my fields are being defined. So for the constructor should take the same name as the class. You get. So whenever you're dealing with anything class, so just be very careful when you're defining an object of that class or an instance for the class. The type takes the same name as the class. Then when you're creating a constructor, the constructor also takes the same name as the class. So take note, key points and hints. So inside this constructor now, so what values are to be passed inside this constructor? So what do we want to expect? So we want to expect a name, a gender, and number of legs. So for the name, how we pass in, how we do this? We're gonna say this dot name, comma, then this dot gender, comma, then this dot num legs. So we still have three issues spotted. So what's the problem? So it says three positional arguments expected by human dot new. Likewise, the same thing here. Then it says the function body must be provided. Try adding a function body. So let's go. Is the first one at line 3, the second one at line 4. So let's go straight up ahead. So inside here right now, it expects us to pass in values to fill in these variables here. You get, or to fill in these fields here. So this dot name stands in as an instance to this variable here. This dot gender also stands as an instance to this. So whatever you pass inside here for the gender comes here as the value of the gender. Whatever you pass inside here as the name comes here as the value for the name. Likewise for the legs. So let's go inside now and pass value. So we pass the values inside here. So where we created the instance for the object. So what name now? So as our usual Nelson as our first name, Nelson, then gender male, male, then number of legs, I have two legs. So for the second person, we say it to be Mike. Mike, what gender? Male. Okay, or hold on, hold on. Let me not be unfair in this scenario. So for the second case, let it be a female. So I'm gonna say Rose. So for those of you females out there, you're still welcome to learn programming. So we're being fair here, not being cheating. So what gender? I'm gonna say female. Then what number of legs? So Susie, should I give Susie five? No, Susie two. Take two, Susie. Much respect for you, Susie. So let's go ahead and run this and let's see our result. Okay, we still have another issue. It says the function body must be provided. Try adding a function body. Yeah, so what's the cause of this error? So, oh yeah, I forgot our terminator here. So let's add this. So you see the error goes away and let's run this. Yeah. So now you see we have Nelson, male, two, Nelson eats. Then here we have Nelson thinks. Next up we have Rose for the name, female, two, Rose eats, Rose thinks. So you see, we can now define as many instances of humans as we want. You understand? So you see the advantage of having functions. So you don't need to come one after the other now. Like if there was no OOPs or any classes, so you will see that you will have to come and start defining a name and assigning values to each one after the other. You understand? So you have to copy this if you want to do this. So definitely for name, gender, legs, for two persons, this is going to take like 6 lines. Then for three persons, it's going to take like 3 lines. You get? So, but you see, for two persons, this just took you only 3 lines. One, two, three, then four, five. That is creating the instances of this for this class. You understand? So that's the advantage of making use of classes. So I bet you perhaps right now everything is going to look so confusing, but as time goes on, you're going to learn more and more about classes, and you're going to see where you're going to need to apply classes. You get? So classes is one of the, should I say, one of the most toughest things to get through with in programming, but more practice, more consistency, you get things right and you get things done properly. So it's not a big deal. So just chill up. So another thing you have to know about classes is inheritance in classes and also method overrides in classes. So now I want to go ahead creating another class. So I'm going to say class of, let me say, a dog. I'm going to say class of dog family. Yeah, class of dog family, or let me say cat family. Yeah, class of cat family. Then our usual. Then inside this, so for the cat family, let me give an example now. Take for instance for the lion. So the lion does almost nearly everything like humans do. So the lion has a name, he has a gender, he has a number of legs. The lion also eats, and likewise lion also thinks. You get? So all the lion thinks is just to beast on prey, to hunt on prey, and be the king of the jungle. Yeah. So are we gonna go ahead writing this from scratch? Like copy this, come here, paste it, so that the cat family is gonna have access to everything the human does. Yeah, you could go ahead doing something like that, but it's pretty crazy, you understand, and stressful. That's the truth about it. So you don't have to go ahead stressing yourself over what you could use to make your life so much more easier for yourself. So instead of going through the banters and the downs of copying this and pasting here, so we have what we call inheritance in classes. So now I want to inherit all the properties and all the methods that this human class possesses. So how am I going to do that? So we're going to use a simple keyword in that called extends. So for that, I'm going to come after the name of our class here, and I'm going to say extends what? So it extends the human class. Let me scroll this up. So extends the human. Perfect. So it says the superclass human doesn't have a zero argument. So I'm gonna tell you guys the reason for this error. So this class you see here now is a child class of the superclass human. So the superclass human here is considered as this the mother class of this child cat family. So this cat family here depends on whatever class he extends, and so therefore it depends on the human class since it extends from the human class, kind of like it's an extension from the human class. You get. So inside here now it tells us that the superclass human doesn't have a zero argument. So automatically, whenever you extend a class, you inherit every property and every name and every method you see inside the mother class or the superclass. So in resolving this error, what we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead creating a constructor for this child class here. So creating a constructor, I told you, is going to take the same name as the name of the class family, then your brackets. Perfect. So let's close this and close it with our terminator. So we still have the same error. So it says the implicitly invoked unnamed constructor for human, try adding an explicit super parameter with the required argument. So I told you guys, I've taught you guys that whenever you hear parameters are being passed inside functions, you understand? So this is kind of considered like to be a function. So a constructor is a special type of function in a class, you understand? So parameters are being passed inside functions. So already from reading this error, try adding an explicit super parameter with the required argument. So you already know what it's telling you. It's telling you pass a parameter super inside a function, you understand? Then as much as you've seen parameter and you've seen arguments, so you know it's referring to a function. So at times, most of the times, this is how you just pick up knowledge like in programming. You don't need to go browsing all the time. Like, but though browsing helps, you understand, it helps a lot. Like we programs we always browse, but it's always necessary to get familiar with some kind of errors and some kind of things you see along the line, so that if you meet it up again, you know how to solve it or you know how to fix it. You get. So now for this, let's pass in the super. So for the super parameter, we're gonna start with the super keyword. I'm gonna say super dot. So since we're inheriting from the human class, so we're going to say super dot name, gender, and num legs. Name, super dot gender, and super dot num legs. Fine. So that couldn't let us escape or go away without defining the constructor, because in our mother constructor, or you could say in our super constructor here being the human, we had parameters being placed here, you understand? So what it was requiring from us here in the child parameter, because I told you guys that the child inherits everything from the mother. So whereby you're inheriting like everything from the mother, so it's kind of like you being a lookalike. So we can't escape inheriting the properties or the sorry we can't escape inheriting the parameters of the super constructor, that's the mother constructor. So and that's what we just did here. So now let's create an instance for the cat family. So let's go up here. Let me quickly copy this. So for the first cat, I'm just gonna say cat one, cat cat family. So for the first cat, so what should be the name of the cat? So for the name, this should be a lion, as I said, lion being the king of the jungle. So lion, so okay, female. So you see, I'm still being fair with the females. So female. Then for the legs. So a lion doesn't have two legs, it has four legs. So I don't know if he has two legs, two hands, but a lion doesn't have a hand, so we say he has four legs. So it says to us here the value of the local variable cat1 isn't used. Yeah, fine, already I know isn't used. So for that, so let's come here and make use of this. So I'm gonna say print cat1 dot, okay, okay, hold on, cat1 dot name. Then let's close this up and see what we're gonna do. Let's duplicate this into three places for now. So name, next up gender, then num legs, num legs. Perfect. So let's run this and let's see. Okay, let me comment this out. So I don't need this for now. So I know we're gonna be facing errors, but leave that for now. So let's run this and let's see just this alone. The result. So yeah, so you see we have the lion, we have the female, and we have the four. And so let me tell you guys another thing about the a child class. So inside a child class, you can create variables for the child class on its own. You understand, variables that just only the child class can have access to, like itself. You understand, personal variable, just like the way we created variables that is personal to just the humans. You understand, except when you're an extension to the human class, then you have access to its variables. You understand. So what variable now should we create unique to this class? So let me say string, then let me say age. Let me say age. Yeah, age is a good one. Age. Close this up as usual. Come here. Question mark telling me hold on. So what next? So inside here we're gonna pass this inside the constructor. So we're gonna say this dot age. So I guess you guys know why we're still using this. So we're using, wait, hold on. It says the argument type int can be assigned to the parameter online 5.5. Okay, we're gonna go up this. So we're using this dot age because this is telling you that it's something concerning this class, you understand, and nothing outside this class. So when you talk of the super, it tells you that it's something concerning a mother class or a super class, a parent class, you understand. So that's the two differences. So since we have this variable defined inside this particular class, that's why we made use of this dot age. So since we have this one defined inside this human, that's why I made use of this dot name. So but since we don't have the name, gender, and num legs defined inside here, but we're inheriting them, that's why we made use of super dot name. So that's the differences. Hope you understand them now. So let's go up quickly and fix this error. So on line 5 it says person. So okay, hold on, lion. Okay, let me come here for this. Okay, for the age shouldn't be a string, it should be an integer. My bad. We're going to say int. So for the integer, we're going to say, let me say the lion is 20 years. 20 years. So you see, it's fine right now. So let's go ahead printing that also. At one dot age. So the getter age isn't fine. Hold on, let me see why. So this is not gonna work, and let's just get rid of it. So better off, guys, is to define the variable inside the super class first, then gain access to it from the child class. You get. So how about now? I thought you guys have to gain access to the properties, the values, and the fields of the parent class. So how about if you want to gain access to this, but you don't just want to gain access to the animal thinking, you understand, but you want to go ahead overriding what this can do. So it's very simple. So you come over here and just copy this, copy it, paste. Then after that, you come here and say at override at override. Then at override, then you could do what you want to do here. So what does the lion think of? So the lion thinks of to feast on its prey. So let me go ahead and say your name thinks of to feast on its prey. So now you see we're having an error here. Oh my, thank God this error came up. So I want to have talked to you guys about this one if not for this error. So what this why we have this error here, as you can see, we have different colors here. We have the blue, we have red, and we have green. But I want from here to the prey to be one complete sentence. So but now they're making differences. So and which is definitely wrong. So for us to make them together, you could see that this string starts here and whereby I did it, so it takes this to be the end of the string, the end of the statement, and which is wrong. So this is not where my statement ends. So my statement ends here. So how am I gonna get rid of this? So I'm gonna come here and escape this string with a backward slash. So a backward slash, we see it then understands that this is a whole sentence here. So this is a complete sentence, but I still have an issue here. So at the end here, I still have every right to enclose this again with a single quotation mark. You get. So now it understands that this is one word on its own. You get. So I've escaped this string causing problem for us. So from here to here now is the beginning and the ending of my statement. So you get. So cool. So let me see. Let's go ahead running this for the think. So when you come here, cat1 dot think dot think, then let me say for the person, let me comment this. So for the first person, I'm gonna say let me look for its think. Okay, see for the think here, let me cut this and then bring it up here for you to see. Yeah, so let's run this. So you're gonna see difference here. So now you see the difference here. So with overriding the normal function in which the normal result in which the think here for the human gives us, with overriding it to what we want to think about, you understand? So for the lion now, so but okay, for Nelson, first of all, so Nelson is a human, he can think of to become somebody in the future, second future. So he could think of to be a footballer, he could think of to dance, he could think of to go party. Yeah, that's fine. And but for a lion, lion can't think of to go party. Party with what? For what? So a lion now can't think of to dance. He can dance. He doesn't even listen to music. So you see, it's a complicated issue on his own already. You get. So, but for Nelson, he could do all those. But for a lion, we went straight and we said lion thinks of to feast on its prey only. You get. So that's it. So you see how method override works and how inheritance works in Dash programming language. So friends, it's really been my pleasure having you guys from the start to the end. And so can't wait to see so much more that we could accomplish together in this channel. So friends, see you next time. Bye.